Welcome to Realtors Unfiltered, where we pull back the curtain on the world of real estate. No fluff, no filters, just real stories, real advice, and the realities of buying, selling, and everything in between. This is your host, Inas Latif. Whether you're a client looking for your dream home or an agent seeking inspiration and insight, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. I'm Inas Latif, and here with me today is Brittany Johnson. Brittany, you started in the bakery and service industry. What made you take the leap into real estate?
Well, I knew that I did not want to be in the service industry forever, and I've actually always been interested in real estate. I ended up getting my license during COVID, as I feel like a lot of people did. So that was a good opportunity to kind of step outside of the service industry and seeing, what real estate was like.
Were there any skills from owning a bakery and serving that translated surprisingly well into real estate?
People skills, for sure. I mean, when I was serving in a restaurant, I'm face-to-face with people, hundreds of people, every single shift. So you have to have those people skills. You have to attend to them. You have to make sure that they're, good, enjoying themselves, all those things. I think it really relates to much of what you have to do in real estate.
So would you say making sure that they have a good experience?
For sure.
Is the same?
Yeah, definitely. You're going like above and beyond. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they're going to be tipping you. So you have to do a good job.
So that's in the service industry.
Yes.
And how do you go above and beyond in our current industry in real estate?
I take the time to really get to know my clients. I do. I love that aspect of real estate. That's probably my favorite part of it, is the relationships that you build. So really getting to know people, understand why it is they're making a move, understand even a little bit deeper if they're, opening up. I learn a lot about people, really.
Yeah. Like what? Give us some examples.
Just it depends on the person. Some people are an open book, so you really understand why it is they're making a move, what motivated them, of course. Maybe family dynamics sometimes come into play. When I deal with relocation, it's nice to kind of learn why it is they're relocating to Buffalo. There's a lot. You learn a lot. You do.
Yeah. And would you say you have a better opportunity to know people more on a deeper level in real estate than you did in the service industry?
For sure. You're in contact with them usually a typical closing is 60 days. So at the very least, you are in communication with them for 2 months. Usually well beyond that. Some people are searching for homes for years. I have a client I've been working with for a very long time, 5 years. And through that, I found out that I used to work with one of their best friends, and I ended up selling their cousin a house. So, you just learn a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when we live in an area that's relatively a smaller city.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah, very true. What would you say was the hardest part of transitioning from business owner and server to an agent?
I think real estate is different than I thought it would be before I actually got into the industry. The most difficult thing for me, to be transparent, was just the idea that you don't get paid for, until the deal closes. Things fall apart. You can be counting on, a compensation that's supposed to be coming in on a certain day, and then all of a sudden, something happens where you're no longer in that specific transaction, and you're not waiting for that money. It's a lot of trust, I would say. And you have to be very good with your money and all that good stuff. So that was the most difficult part for me, honestly. When you're a server, you're making, your money every single night. When you leave work, you're doing the work, and then you leave, you're compensated immediately. It's different with real estate. You really have to have trust in the process.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes, it's always the process.
oh yes, it is.
Focus on the process, results will come.
Mhm.
Trust the process.
Right, trust. It's a
results will
huge
come.
thing with
Right.
it. Yeah, you really have to trust the process. So,
Right. You just mentioned that you were working with someone for 5 years.
yeah, so I met them at my very first open house that I held. Actually, they became a client through that. They're in no hurry, and I knew that going into it. I'd take them to see maybe, I don't know, a handful of houses a year so far, but this is the year. They said this is the year, so we're looking high and low. They have very specific needs, and they just don't see any benefit of jumping on just anything for just the sake of owning a home.
Yeah.
And I respect that. They're younger, they have no children, so there's not a huge pressure. But now they're just ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're excited.
So it's all about finding the house that's going to make me move kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
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 And we're getting there.
But it's funny that you mentioned the 5-year mark working with a client,
Yeah.
because that is an example, perfect example of working and not knowing if you may or may not get compensated for the hours that you're putting in with this specific client.
Mm-hmm. And let's be real, like there are people out there who have no actual intention on purchasing anytime soon, and they're not transparent about it, or maybe they're working with multiple agents, because unfortunately that does happen. So being able to kind of sift through what people are genuine and really want to do this, and then there's, I don't want to call them waste of time, but they're just not
Lookers.
Yeah.
We'll refer to them as lookers.
Yeah, they're not like committed to getting the benefits of working with just one agent. They're kind of dipping, their toes wherever they can.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes people don't really understand how it works in our industry. They don't realize that they are genuinely wasting someone else's time and money that person could be making for their livelihood and to support their family by spending time with them, as opposed to a client who's actually serious about making a move or buying or selling.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So we talked about that a little bit, but what would you say was the most rewarding for you since you made the switch to real estate?
The I don't want to say flexibility, because it's not that flexible, but in a sense, just being in control of your own schedule. I mean, it's not like I'm working any less. That's not the case. But having 2 children, it's really important for me to be there for them for, after school activities, whatever it may be, extracurricular activities, and just, holidays, things of that nature. When I was serving, I was working weekends, and I was working, late night hours. And I just, having the flexibility with real estate is, I don't know, I love it. I really do.
Give us an example of a day where you were able to use that flexibility to be with your kids at something that's important to you and them, but at the same time still be able to help your client on that day.
Yeah. So I do try to do the bulk of being out of the house when the kids are in school. So my youngest just started kindergarten, so I do have that benefit now. And once they get home, I try to save more of like what can be done from a computer, so that I can focus on them, because that's something I can kind of like go back and forth. If they have something that they need to be doing, I'll help them with that. And then if I have a moment, I can go ahead back to my computer. So I would say
Sounds like a lot of juggling.
Oh my gosh. That's all I do is juggle.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. It really is.
I have a very important question.
Oh,
Do you still bake?
I do. Yes, I love baking. That's like my retirement plan, is to have like a cafe, bakery, coffee shop type situation. I love baking. It's something that, I don't know. It's just one of the few things I feel like I do where I'm really like in the moment. Because as you mentioned, I'm juggling all the time. So it's like your mind kind of has to be at, 10 different places at the same time. When I'm baking, I have to be focused on that very thing that I'm doing. And especially with baking, it's very, it's critical that you don't make any mistakes, with measuring and this and that. So.
This is why I don't bake. It's very precise.
It is. But once you get it down, it's great.
Yeah. I'm watching you smile as you're describing baking.
Yes.
And would you describe it as your self-care time?
Honestly, yeah. Truly, yeah. I find so much peace and just, I don't know, something about it. I really, really love it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I've been the lucky recipient of some of your baked
I'll
goods.
keep it coming.
So we talked about baking being a part of your self-care. Now, I know that you're big on self-care and you do other things on a regular basis. What are some of the non-negotiables for you when it comes to taking care of yourself?
Yeah. The gym or being active in some way. So it's not, I can't make it to the gym every day, of course, or some weeks not even as much as I'd like to. But just moving my body, it's like imperative. Going for a walk halfway through my shift or, not shift, but, when I'm working. I love the location of our office because it allows me to take a walk in nature, clear my mind a little bit, move my body. Really taking care of my body is like top of mind. It is. And eating healthy too. I realize when I eat like crap that I feel like crap. So I try to eat like, whole foods and things like that. Yeah.
Are you able to manage that with a crazy schedule between, juggling real estate and the kids like we were talking about earlier?
Not every day. Yeah. I think I try to give my best every day, but that looks different from day to day. But I really do try to focus on getting outside if it's nice out, even if it's with the kids. It doesn't have to be like me necessarily in the gym lifting weights. And then cooking too. My youngest is super into cooking. So whole foods, like I said, having them in the kitchen doing that with me, it's a bonding experience, right? But I'm also teaching them how to eat well because I don't think everyone's taught that, like what food's good for you, what food's not good for you.
Right.
But, I try not to deprive them too much. We get ice cream. We love ice cream. That's like our downfall. Not downfall, but that's our treat.
Guilty pleasure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, because self-care became such a buzzword and it could mean so many different things to many different people. But to your point, it's, trying your best every day to be good to yourself and your body and your mental health all around.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. What's something have you've learned about relationships through this journey of entrepreneurship and real estate?
They're important. I think being just real, like I try to be like myself with any relationship that I am building because I don't know, it's easier that way. I don't want to put a front on. I want you to enjoy me for the genuine me. And I don't know, I'm such a relationship person. I really love to get to know people. I love to get to know them. I like to, when I have longer relationships, we grow together. There's a lot that goes into it.
Have you made any friendships just from meeting someone or that started in a client relationship turned into a friendship?
I've had 2 friends that were more of like acquaintances that I helped through the process, and now we are, closer. I also have this one couple who I just love so much. We ended up connecting because the husband baked sourdough.
Oh.
So
I love that.
When I'm telling him, you know, he mentioned something about baking in one of the homes that we were looking at. I was like, you like to bake? He's like, oh yes, croissants and like all, and that's like, croissants are like a big thing to do. Like it's a very time consuming, intricate pastry to make. And I was like blown away. I'm like, immediately, yes. Like we were there's probably like a 50-year age difference, but they really become my friends.
I love that.
Yeah, I love them. They're so sweet.
Are we planning a bake-off soon?
I've mentioned it, and I think he's down.
Oh,
yeah.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
It will.
Can I be the judge?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. But what about your personal relationships? Have you been able, or how have you been able to juggle your current personal relationships and real estate and kids and clients?
It's a lot. I think being open, I have like a close-knit like group of girlfriends, and I'm very open about like when busy season is, right? Like when I'm kind of MIA. It's not because, you know, I forgot about you guys. It's just I really have to focus on this piece of my business, because I do feel with real estate you have times where you can have, you know, it's a little bit more slow or a little bit more calm, maybe easier to juggle everything, where maybe you can take a vacation or you can go, you know, out to dinner a couple times with your girls that month. And then there's months where it's crazy as hell and you just can't. You know, you try your best to make it happen. Mm-hmm. Coffee dates come into play a lot because they're quick. Mm-hmm. So I'm constantly trying to like meet my friends for coffee during the times where things are a little bit more hectic. And, you know, with the kids, they're always my top priority. So, like, that is never something that gets put on the back burner.
I love that.
Yeah.
Are your friends understanding of, yeah?
Yeah. I've been friends with the group of girls that I'm talking about since we've been 12. Yeah. So they get it. Yeah. We're like sisters. I mean, really. They understand. They, you know, one of them also is like an independent contractor where they kind of have their own business and they have busy seasons too. She's a hairdresser. So my other friend just had a baby. So she gets it, you know, there's just, life is crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
But we're all understanding. At the end of the day, we're always there for each other. So
that's the definition of true friendship.
Absolutely. And it's not everyone is lucky enough to have that. So
yeah. What about family? How's family receiving of maybe when you're not available?
They get it. Mm-hmm. They do. Again, just being open and super transparent about it. Like, of course, when I'm busy with showings, sometimes the kids get a little bit, you know, you got to leave for a showing. But it's always like, you know, I'll be back in an hour. And after that, you know, we'll go on the trampoline or we're go and get ice cream, you know, something fun that they can look forward to.
Sounds like a bribe to me, but
no, not quite. So just having that open communication with them. I'm sure there's days where they're like, I really wish you didn't have to go. But I always make it up, you know, with quality time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, you just hit it like on the nose. And I would say for me, it was this similar experience is I made sure that I rewarded my family or my kids with quality time after. So it's not just being there, it's actually being present with them when I was there and around because,
Yeah, even like a night away sometimes. Like, you know, for Matt and I, if it's been crazy, just going away for an evening it's nice. Kind of unplug if you're able to, you know. I make it more of like a matter of fact, right? Because again, like those relationships are like top priority. So 24 hours of unplugging, as long as whoever you're working with is aware of, you know, you'll be away. People get it.
Yeah.
You know, we're in this time where like everyone expects you to have your phone on you at all times of the day.
Yes.
And it can be a lot sometimes to have to be available, you know, 24/7 essentially.
Truly 24/7.
Yeah. And especially in this industry.
Yes.
But I think it's important to set boundaries with your clients too.
How do you do that? Give me an example of that.
Really, I try to have like a certain time of the day where I'm not going to, if I hear my phone like go off, immediately grab it and respond right away. And for most clients, I can kind of let them know, you know, I do have a family and we have family dinners every night or as often as we can. And my phone's not on me. And most people respect it. I mean, you don't really come across people where they're like, well, that's dumb, you know?
Right.
So again, having that open communication and letting them know, like, I do have children. I do have a family. You know, I have to juggle quite a bit. But, you know, I'm here. I'm here. I'm going to get to you when I can. And it's usually, you know, quickly. But
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. So unplugging for a little bit of time to be present with your family is your key to being able to manage those relationships.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. So we talked a lot about family and relationships and being able to manage time and so forth. I have an interesting question for you.
Oh, boy.
If you could have dinner with any 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Martha Stewart.
Oh.
I just watched her new documentary and I love her.
Would you talk about baking with her?
Everything. Like, she's like the hostess with the mostest, you know? I would, of course, talk about baking, but she also runs like an empire, you know? Gardening, you know, all that. I'm like an old soul. So all that stuff really appeals to me.
I love that for you.
Yeah. Jay Shetty.
Oh, let's talk more about that.
I don't know. He's very, I don't know. The way that he lives really just speaks to me. I've read one of his books. I think it was called Think Like a Monk.
My favorite.
Yeah, it doesn't really have anything to do with like being a monk. But if you want to grow like within yourself, I feel like it's such a good book to read. It really is.
It's a long one.
It's a long one.
I usually listen, not read.
Well, yeah, let me clarify. That was a podcast or an audiobook. I do not read
10
an actual
hours,
book.
I believe it was.
Yeah. Yes.
But I would listen to it again.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm ready to right now, you know?
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how like certain podcast or not, I keep calling them podcasts, certain audiobooks kind of speak to you, and you know when you're at a certain season of your life where you're like, I think I can read that again. I need some tips out of there, you know?
Right.
And then for a third person, my goodness. I have no idea. I really don't know. Julia Child.
Oh my goodness. I thought you were going to mention your husband, but oopsie.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I can have dinner with him like, you know, any day of the week. I guess I didn't realize it could be like not famous people.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Maybe Matt should skip over this little segment right here.
Yeah.
What was the one dream, or what is the one dream that you haven't tackled yet but hope to in the future?
Real estate related or just in general?
In general.
I think it would probably have to do with, so I used to have like a cupcake business out of my house, and I enjoyed doing that.
How long were you doing that?
A few years. It was something that I started. I was in school full-time, working full-time, and I just was looking for an extra way to make some money, and I loved baking, obviously. Nico was really young at the time, so it was a nice thing that I could do from home. Mm-hmm. So I did that for a few years, but then life just kind of got too crazy. But so I think I would start like baking again with, you know, I really always wanted to do a farmer's market and having like a stand at a farmer's market to sell baked goods.
Aww.
Yeah. So it's something I've told myself I'm going to do for like quite some time now, and I've yet to do it. So I think that's like a goal of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that for you.
Yeah. But like a real estate goal, I love like really large estate homes, like the homes that are on, 50 plus acres, and it has a carriage house, and it has, just like, not like a compound, but, just a beautiful plot of land with scorch. Like, I want to sell one of those.
I thought you wanted to buy one and raise your own chickens.
Well, I mean, that's the ultimate dream, but I'm not there just yet. Yeah, I don't know. I love homes like that.
Yeah.
So that'd be like a real estate goal.
What draws you to these types of homes?
I don't know. I really don't. I find that some of them have like a lot of history behind them, and I love that. Mm-hmm. Like, I love a home that is like historical or has some type of like history.
Like a story behind it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, that's like I don't know, something in me is drawn to that. So I'd say probably those are the two kind of goals that I have, or dreams.
Are there any homes that you sold so far that maybe one sticks out to you with a story behind it?
I mean, the most recent, one of my most recent sales was a property that they lived in for, God, I think it was like 40 years that they were in the home. And just hearing them talk about, like, how they raised their kids there, a lot, obviously they grew together there, a lot of memories for them. Mm-hmm. I just found that special. And they also didn't do, like, not in a bad way, but they didn't do much like in the home. So you kind of saw like all of that, they had like the built-ins, and it had the original hardwood floors, and it had original cabinets.
Oh, we're suckers for those.
Yeah. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you think we could do as realtors to help someone who's moving from a home like that with so much history and memories, for them to maybe keep a piece of it somehow?
I just did this recently. I had a water paint, I guess you would call it, like a picture made for them. And on the bottom it said memories, and I think I had a date on there too. I don't remember. But you could do something like that, and then it's like a nice, and it's not large, but it's something that they could keep. It's a keepsake from their home.
How did they receive it?
They loved it.
Aww.
They were so touched. Yeah, they were really touched by it. And they were someone who was really struggling with letting go of that house, because they did raise their kids there, and that was like the first home that they bought together. So certainly a lot of memories, lots of holidays. They talked about all of that before the home was really listed. So you knew that it was difficult for them to do.
Yeah.
So kind of trying to reassure them that, hang on to those. Like, you have those, and although you're not really going to be in that home anymore, you can keep those memories alive other ways, photos.
Yeah, I mean, to some people, it's just brick and mortar, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a stepping stone to somewhere else, or temporary place, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But to someone like you just described, it's part of their life. It's part of who they are. Mm-hmm. It's their safety net. In so many ways, that's where they feel safe. That's right. Where they feel secure. And it's usually a very difficult move for someone, even if it makes sense on paper. Yeah. Emotionally. Right. It takes a toll on most people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. How did the kids feel about the parents selling the house?
I don't know, because I actually was never, I do know that the children were a bit older at this point. I never interacted with them. I think they were maybe like high school, college age. I'd imagine there's a piece of them that was like, this is their childhood, you know? So I imagine that to be pretty difficult.
Yeah. Probably feels weird that they can't, when they want to come home, mm-hmm. It's not the same home.
Yeah, exactly.
And it may not feel like home to them.
Sure.
For a long time.
Sure. But I imagine you kind of get over that. Not get over it, but you then you're creating new memories in your new home. So
yeah, you get used to the new norm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Brittany, I really want to thank you for being here with us today.
Of course.
And you really shared some amazing stories. And we'll be waiting for that bake-off, by the way.
Listen, it's coming.
We'll have to launch that soon.
Yes.
Maybe our listeners can have a date soon.
Yeah.
And have a few more judges.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience today?
Nothing I can think of. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
So you mentioned the book Think Like a Monk.
Yes.
I'm going to highly recommend it to all of our listeners.
Such a good book.
Such a good book.
Mm-hmm.
And you just inspired me to go listen to it again. I think I'll start that today.
You know, me too. I feel like I'm in that season. I want to pick it back up too. So
Yeah. And his voice is so calming.
So calming. Yeah.
So thank you again for being here with us today.
Thank you.
And thanks to all of our listeners as well.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to Realtors Unfiltered, where real estate meets reality. If you're ready to buy, sell, or explore joining our team, visit us at inaslatifsalesteam.com. Until next time, keep it real.